Hello and welcome to Zero Cool Gaming and this week's anime review. Today I will be reviewing the anime Tytania. Tytania is a unique, to say the least, title. Um, Came out I believe in 1988, or published anyway as a series. And then I don't know when the actual movie was. I'm sure one of these things will tell me. So, what is Tytania? That is a good question. Let's read and find out. Tytania is a Japanese series of novels written by Arthur. Yeah, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. With illustrations by, and I'm not going to try that one either. Formerly published by another gentleman, now currently under publication by Square Enix. With the first addition to the series published in 1988, the series has yet to be completed, with the latest novel published in 1991. The series has been adapted to manga, as well as some of the illustrations published by another gentleman. It was the it was first put to print in March 26th of 2008 and is still ongoing. The anime, Tytania, was adopted from the work written by this gentleman and directed by another gentleman for Artland Studios and premiering the NHK BS2 network. The anime originally ran from October 9, 2008 to March 26, 2009 and was a total of 26 episodes. The story of all incarnations of the work are set in a future where humans have spread their influence to many planets. The Empire of Valdania is under the control of the wealthy and powerful Tytania clan. Having forged its influence through intimidation and economic might, in the year 446, the Tytania clan dispatches a large fleet to make an example of the planetary city-state of Uria. Surprisingly, Uria decides to resist and actually wins this battle. This sets in motion a series of rebellions poised to topple the influence of the Titania-controlled empire of Valdania. Okay, well that is basically the story. And I can tell you right now that the reviewers of the time did not like this story for whatever reason. Most of their writings, shall we call them, are not kind. But I will again try to, weed out the bad parts and just kind of give you what, the story is. Uh, the universe or galaxy is for the most part under the control of the Empire of Valdania, which is under the control of the Tytania clan, who controls everything through their influence, which of course means their military and economical might. They're, for the most part, the most feared and undefeated force in the galaxy. This, of course, all changes one day. A military force under the command of one of the four dukes is sent to acquire a piece of technology from Uria. This planetary system decides to resist Tytania and ends up winning that battle. All thanks to the admiral for which they put in charge of their fleet. They had actually planned for this man to fail. Absolutely. And when he didn't fail, it was kind of a, yay, you're the hero, not because nobody's going to ever be informed that you won, sort of thing. So he was sold out literally from the get-go. He was a lower-ranking officer, moved up through the ranks very quickly so that he could be put in charge of what they figured was going to be a failed campaign. Winning wasn't really on their to-do list. The problem is that they gave this man the appointment of being an admiral, so he had access to all of their weapons. And he found that they had built several weapons that have never been used before in any kind of battle in that respect. because nobody had really figured out a way to use this particular weapon. It was dangerous to use. It had a fatal flaw of exploding when you got done using it. So this gentleman figured out how to use these weapons in essentially a skeleton crew, or let's say fleet, with very few actual men on board that fleet, to basically create what most people would call a mock battle. And of course, in the end of this, because there was deception going on, he had planned to use these very dangerous weapons as a last resort, just to kind of, give himself a way out. So he could get away at the very least. It ended up, destroying most of their forces and turning them around and driving them back as a result. But anyway, this particular animation is full of these kind of stories. There's like 16 different stories in this animation, to be true. The stories are actually kind of basic, but they do teach different types of morals, different types of values. They cover what today would be considered some pretty problematic, I believe is the word they would use, topics. But all in all, it's done in a realistic way, something that you can watch and relate to, which in and of itself is good writing to me, if it's relatable. Even though it's set, in a futuristic world where, we have space battles and spaceships and blah, 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 blah. You can still ground that to a realistic understanding, especially when you're talking about people and how they interact with each other, and the things that they think about this, that, and the other. Okay, so basically that's what this story is about, but that is also not what this story is about. What this show actually does, to me, in my opinion, is it teaches people, A, what critical thinking skills are. B, teaches people how to break down information into its individual parts and then apply critical thinking skills to each of those parts to determine how valid the information you have is, A, and then B, be able to predict the probable outcomes from said inputs into those situations. These are very high level concepts, but put on a very basic level of understanding. It's easy to understand them if you really watch the show and what it's saying and what they're doing and how they're doing it. A lot of these reviewers are just, how do I put this in a way that's going to make sense? The things that they say is that the whole story is about, person A is going to do person B, but person B already knows what person A is going to do, so C is the outcome. And yes, that is what the story does, but there's a underlining meaning to that, an understanding that should be absorbed as well. I don't know if you people have ever heard the term one movie, two screens. This is what I see all the time when I read these reviews of the shows that I enjoyed when I was, throughout my life, actually. I never cared about reading a review of a show. That was never something that I used to do. I never cared who the actors were. I never cared who the voice actors were. None of that stuff actually ever mattered to me. If it was a decent story with, subpar special effects or whatever, it didn't bother me. As long as it was a decent story and it was entertainment, I could enjoy it. I also enjoy dramas, and I really enjoy dramas that teach you something. And that's what I liked about this drama, was that it was a drama. It was a basic drama, basic stories within it, but the overall story actually taught you a valuable tool, a skill, something that you could use throughout the rest of your life. And I thought that was very well done. Do I think that they would ever make something like this today? Oh, absolutely not. Why? Well, today they seem to be more interested in pushing agendas and pumping out propaganda rather than entertaining people and maybe teaching them something along the way. Uh, I much prefer the old way, but hey, I'm not the one making these decisions. So, my review of Tytania is that it is a great show. Thumbs up. If you're interested in dramas and you like the space dramas or science fiction dramas in that respect, there is action in this. There is quite a bit of violence in this. But that's not the main focus of it. The main focus is truly on the interactions between the people and how they break down the information that they're given to determine possible outcomes. It truly teaches, like I stated, critical thinking skills and how to apply them. So if that sounds like the sort of thing you might enjoy, you may very much enjoy Tytania. Well, that's my review of Tytania, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.